So I've changed the angle just a little bit so that you can see sort of how I'm sitting, and I can demonstrate the setup and the posture that we need of the cello. So behind your cello you have this, the back of the cello, and we're going to make sure that the back of the cello is hitting us. For women, we have two options. We can be above the chest area or below the chest area. Either one is fine. For men and young girls, you don't have this to worry about. Then there's the peg. The peg relationship is important. You have the peg behind the left ear. Sometimes the peg is not near the ear, but actually behind the head, if you prefer that. I have my earrings on so you can sort of see where that's at. I don't usually play with an earring, but I want you to see the relationship of the peg. So the peg right here is behind my ear, so my earring is not touching the string. But if the peg right here is behind my head and actually all the way behind the skull, that's where it's at. Now this, my hand would be super close. For me personally as a cellist, this is the preference I have, which is sort of turning my cello on an angle. So it's like a slash. I make my cello into a side slash. If I'm looking at this fingerboard, it's gone into a side slash. Just ever so slightly. Then I have my bow set up. This is my rest position, and then my knees in rest position are touching this corner of the cello. So you can see there's this inside slope right here. This is not where our knees go. This is where our knees go back behind the cello. They're hugging right underneath on both sides. My knees are going there. So before I even put out my endpin, which is already out, if I was a brand new beginner, if this is your first lesson, I'd take that endpin in and I'd hold my cello with two hands, one right under here, this is the ribs, and one right here on the neck. And I'd hold this cello and I'd bring that cello into me without the endpin. I'd hug the cello with my knees and it will slip away, okay, if I hug too hard. It's gonna go, oh, hello, cello. And I bring it in here and I go, hello, cello. Here is my cello. Hug it with my knees is a fun song that I do. Or show me your cello. Hug it with your knees. Show me your cello. Hug it with your knees. This is allowing that up and down. So what's happening from the side? Show me your cello. Hug it with your knees. Show me your cello. Hug it with your knees, okay? That's what's happening up here. But if I was actually sitting on the edge of my piano bench, you can see I'm hugging. My knees are right there against the cello. Once I have that set up, and I have my points of contact set up, which are 3. One point is this, behind the ear or the head, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. And then the other point of contact is right here. This is on my chest, either below the sternum or above the sternum. Then I have this point of contact on my knees. So it goes 1, 2, 3 points of contact that I'm connecting with my cello. The points of contact we don't want are right here. This is where our fingers need to go and need to be able to slide. If that is touching your shoulder, like so, you cannot play the notes without pulling that arm up. And let me show you from this side too. If I do this, I can't shift properly. So please make sure that point of contact is there. Now the cello used to be played with it just sitting down here on the ground before the endpin. The endpin brings it up and allows us also not to have to bend over to go. So the endpin, once you've got those points of contact, if you can get a friend to help you adjust your endpin, once you're holding that at a position either up, I wouldn't hold it too far out, but some people prefer that. Mine, I prefer a little bit more like this and to the side. And then have someone adjust the endpin as you're holding it so that it's adjusted right to your preference with your chair. And the point of reference of your chair is that you don't want your hips too far above or below. You want this angle going where your hips are just slightly above. This chair is actually a little bit, you can see, a little bit high for me. My hips are a little bit too high here. I'm sitting on this for my recording purposes to put me up a little bit higher. But since I've been playing for a long time, it's not a big issue. Now, you'll find throughout the house you might have different chairs that are at different heights. I actually had a friend who, her perfect height was a toilet seat in the bathroom. So she ended up practicing in the bathroom. I'm not advocating that, but you might find that's the perfect height for. for you. If you don't have a chair at home, there are options.